So here we are, Baruch Hashem, at the Botanic Burgers restaurant, opening tomorrow, Tuesday, the 15th. Be'ezrat Hashem, we have a beautiful short class by Rabbi Rosenberg the Mashgiach. He'll give us some Kashrut laws, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we want all of you to be part of this. So please spread the word and share the video. Shalom Aleichem.
Welcome everybody. I just wanted to show you a little bit about how we wash vegetables in an industrial kitchen. You can do the same thing at home. It's efficient, it's quick, it's easy, and it's very important. In terms of kashrut, a piece of lettuce that has insects on it is worse than a piece of pig in terms of kashrut. So we'll just walk you through some of the process of one of the easier methods. We call it the bedika method, the shmata bedika, or the drip cloth method that we use in the kosher world. I use this in many of the organizations where I work. I use this at home also. One of my goals is to show people that this isn't just a job just for me. This is something everybody can do and should do, and it's not difficult. It should not be difficult. Let's walk us through one of the processes. I have not checked this head of lettuce yet, so I don't know if it has insects or not. Obviously, it has not been washed or anything. We cut off the end. We're going to take off the leaves all along, and we're going to deposit the leaves into a large container. So that's the first step. And what we're going to do in this container right now is we're just going to soak this in soap, and this is going to help us wash the lettuce. We want to keep these leaves whole because eventually Boaz wants to use these for the burgers. They should look, they should look presentable. The final result. So ordinarily I would put more in there, but just for the video's sake, we're gonna pour in some water. I'm going to use this fruit and vegetable wash. It is the healthier thing to use. If you can't find this, a non-toxic dish soap that you use in your dishes is just as good. You just put in enough that when you swish it around in the water, it can become bubbly. The point is that what we're trying to do is we're trying to make the lettuce smooth and slippery so that if there's any insects, they'll hopefully fall off. Why do we want them to fall off? Well, first of all, we don't want to eat them, but also we want to see if there's an infestation. And that's really one of my main jobs here, is to see if there's too many bugs, if this is cleanable or not. So it shouldn't take too long to keep this in the water, just long enough for all the leaves to get nice and slippery. And then,
does it matter cold or warm water?
Great question. For quality's sake, you definitely want to use cold water. Warm water might help you get rid of bugs,
boss.
but it's not a good idea for quality to use hot water. You'll be cooking the leaves, and they won't taste good. They won't have as much of the nutrients that you want to have in your food. So there are a lot of things to balance here. Kashrut is not just is it kosher or not. You want it to be tasty. Hashem wants us to eat food and enjoy it. It should be tasty. It should be healthy, and that's also important. And now what am I doing? I just washed off most of the soap, and now I'm soaking the leaves in plain water. No soap at all, just plain water. And the point of this now is I'm going to pour this water through a thrip cloth. Now the thrip cloth I have located here, between two colanders. I'll explain why in a moment. So this is a thrip cloth. It's available through, I think, the Star K and many other places. Very, very small holes. You can't even notice the holes. It's even fewer holes than cheesecloth. And as you'll see, when I pour the water through, if there's any insects in the water, they will show up on the thrip cloth. That's the idea. So pick up the water successfully there. Good job. And we pour it through. By the way, so I wanted to explain why we have two colanders. You don't really need two colanders. One should be enough. The reason we put in a second one is to weigh it down. It's just a practical thing. to make it easier to have a smaller area that you're going to be checking when you check the thrip cloth in the light box. And the thrip cloth is available, like I said, through a website, through I think the Star K, and I think other organizations sell it as well. The OU, I think, I'm not sure. Anyway, so then now we have whatever. If there are any insects in the water, they are now on the thrip cloth. I don't see them like this. I don't think anybody can, because there's not enough light. And that's when we put this on to a light box. So for those people who are wondering, do you need to have a light box? Do you have to have a light box? The answer is no. If you have wonderful vision, and if you could see already there, oops, I just turned that off, don't worry. Then you have nothing to worry about. So now we look at these dots, and we don't know what these dots are. So are these dots insects? Are they not? So I don't know. So that's where I use a loop. Loop's also available. This, by the way, this light box was available in the arts and crafts section of Walmart, of Amazon. It's just a tracing lamp. I covered in plastic wrap in order to keep it from getting too wet. Obviously, we need it's an electric appliance. So then I use a loop, and I look at the little dots and see what they are. That is not a bug. I don't know if you can maybe. Do you see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's what this is for. So do you need to use a loop? No. If you could see this, if you have wonderful vision, I don't. If you could see what these are, then you don't need a loop, and then you're fine without a loop. But it's easier, especially for many mashgichim. We don't work on just one head of lettuce, like I just demonstrated. If you want to see how many heads of lettuce I'm going to be working on in a few minutes, it's quite a bit more. And so to not strain the eyes too much, we use a loop. From what I can tell, there are no insects in this at all. You just look through all the dots that you see on the thrip cloth, and it's basically that easy. And I remember somebody once asked Rav Belsky, one of the great Rabbanim, one of the great poskim for the OU, Rosh Yeshiva, Torah V'dat. So he was once asked, what did you do when you were children? You didn't have a light box. How did you look? So he said, the light box is just a poor replacement for the sunlight that we used. We looked at each leaf. You can take each leaf and look in the sun. You can do that. But it's harder. The sun is hot. The sun is not always bright. You want to check at night, it's not going to be easy to use the sun. So that's why we use light boxes. Do you have to have a light box? That's up to you. But it definitely makes this whole checking easier. I strongly recommend a thrip cloth. It's much easier than what we used to do. That's take the water and put the water over the light box and try to dig through the water to see if there's any bugs floating around. There's too many levels there. On the thrip cloth, it's nice and flat. It's all it's either there or it's not, and no sfeikot. It's all very clear. If there's any questions,
where can they get hold of you for any questions, Rabbi?
They can email me tariag613@hotmail.com. They can call my synagogue, Young Israel of San Diego. Can ask you.
The Kollel. Baruch Havat Israel.
Now, Baruch Hashem, I'm on the WhatsApp group of the Kollel here, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer there as well.
Thank you, Rabbi. Be'ezat Hashem, we'll have you do a whole full class at the Kollel.
Anytime.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Hatzlacha. Want to say hatzlacha to the new restaurant opening up, God willing, tomorrow. Boaz and his son, hatzlacha with everything. Thank you so much.